things that you just described, the judgment, the competition, the gossiping, the putting down, for some people, they think that's normal life. They just kind of live in a whole state of trying to cope with existence, and they just do what's normal, what they think is normal, but it's not. It may be normal, but it's not natural.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, our natural state, our soul self is always in pure positive energy. And when we are in our own free will and mind, focusing on that state, focusing on flow, abundance, success, love, then we're naturally flowing with that greater part of us, that part that animates our minds, that part that beats our heart, the part that is for us and provides for us and then is on our side, right? The human part of us that gets limited or imprinted by past traumas, by past bushwhacks, by things of the past, and what we've been raised to believe and what we've been told and what we have lived into about lack and limitation. You're right. It doesn't have to be our reality. There is a better way, and flow is it.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind. Peace and blessings, everyone, and welcome to the Take Back Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center. And every week I get to have amazing conversations with amazing people who are doing great work on the planet for the transformation of consciousness and the total tapping into the unfolding of our highest potential. And so I appreciate I'm with Christy Whitman right now. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Michael. It's so nice to be with you. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely. Let me tell you just a little bit about her. She's an energy master, transformational leader, spiritual guide who helps individuals transform their lives through quantum energy mastery. She's also a New York Times bestselling author of The Art of Having It All and Taming Your Alpha Bitch, and international bestsellers, The Desire Factor, Quantum Success. Her 7th book, The Flow Factor, How to Master Your Energy and Enter a State of Flow. That's out now. As a transformational leader for over 25 years, Christy teaches the law of attraction, manifestation, energy mastery, and soul blending through virtual and live personal development classes, meditations, and private sessions to help clients feel more aligned with the divine design of love, support, well-being, abundance, and success. She's appeared on the Today Show, The Morning Show, TEDx, Hallmark Channel, and top-rated podcast Next Level Soul and All Shift with Anthony Trucks. Her work has been featured in numerous publications and magazines, of course. She currently lives in sunny, hot Arizona with her husband and her 2 boys. Good.
Yeah, I gotta share this. I was doing a podcast earlier, and the woman, her name's Rebecca Whitman. She was telling me that I found out about you years ago because I was at Agape and they had a book, your very first book, Perfect Pictures, and I bought your book and it helped change my life. And then we were talking about you, and she said, Michael Beckwith has forever been and will always be my spiritual mentor. He is my deepest teacher. So I just wanted to give thanks for, the mutual back and forth of helping people change their lives.
That's fantastic. Her name was Rebecca Whitman?
Yes.
She's not
We're not related at all.
You maybe should check on that. Maybe there's some relation.
It's funny though, neither one of us, that's our original name. So it's not our birth name. So
Right. That's your original name.
It's not my original name.
Oh, it's a married name.
It's a married name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so maybe the husbands are related.
Right. Somehow there's got to be something there. But she's a sister from another mister. So let's just call it that.
Let's call it that. Well, thank you for that shout out. That's beautiful. If you talk to her again, give her my love.
I will.
So listen, you have a lot of books. Yeah, your latest release is The Flow Factor. just bring it into layman's language. What does that mean? What does flow mean? I mean, I know what that means. I feel it, you know. But what does it mean? What is the flow factor? What is it? Why does it matter?
It's, well, you live it, right? It's flow is who we really are. Flow feels good. Flow is the alignment. Flow is everything beyond even this physical world. Flow is energy. Flow is the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have access to it, but we're not utilizing it. And when we are in our primitive brains of fight, flight, freeze, when we're in that struggle, when we're in lack and scarcity, we're not in the flow. And so we want to be in the flow because it feels good. That's where our alignment is. That's where all the things that we want to manifest, that's what makes life juicy and fun and free and so good.
Yeah, it's a high vibrational, energetic state.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Yes.
in your work, what do you notice in people that mainly blocks the flow state from them? What are people doing or not doing that's hindering the
Well,
state?
the biggest thing is judgment. When we're judging ourselves, when we're judging another, it takes us immediately out of flow because the divine part of us that's always in flow and that's always available to us never goes into judgment,
Mm,
right? That human part of us, when we are in that state of lack, when we're in worry, fear, doubt, when we're judging, criticizing another, gossiping about another, comparing ourselves and competing, the divine part of us and the flow that goes and is provided and sourced doesn't go there. So we as
mm.
humans, when we're in that space of scarcity and lack and all that brings us into that place, like fear and doubt and worry, that's what brings us out of the flow.
That's right. So you also talk about the fact that, but first of all, let's just go back over what you just said, because a lot of the things that you just described, the judgment, the competition, the gossiping, the putting down, you know, for some people, they think that's normal life. They just kind of live in a whole state of trying to cope with existence, and they just do what they think is normal, but it's not. It may be normal, but it's not natural.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, our natural state, our soul self is always in pure positive energy. And when we are in our own free will and mind, focusing on that state, focusing on flow, abundance, success, love, then we're naturally flowing with that greater part of us, that part that animates our minds, that part that beats our heart, the part that is for us and provides for us and then is on our side, right? The human part of us that gets limited or imprinted by past traumas, by past bushwhacks, by things of the past, and what we've been raised to believe and what we've been told and what we have lived into about lack and limitation. You're right, it doesn't have to be our reality. There is a better way, and flow is it. And so once we get into that flow state and we start to realize that we have a choice, that
Yeah.
we have a choice in the way we feel, we have a choice in the way we think, we have a choice in judging someone and seeing how that feels, and then getting into compassion and looking for what's good in someone and how that feels. Life becomes very different.
Right. Yeah. I always like the word choice, because choice is a function of expanded awareness. When we're doing that work and we expand our awareness, we increase our choice ability. But when we're limited, we're more of a reactor. We react to circumstances rather than choose. And you're inviting people to expand awareness, to actually have a choice. You can actually have a choice of how you feel.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then when you get that, when you start living from that, you live a very different life. And that's what, you're right. A lot of people are living from reactivity. They're living from that primitive part of their brain because we are no different as humans than a bunny or a coyote that's in the desert, right? Or a tortoise. It's like something happens and that tortoise, goes inside of itself. It closes down. We do that when there's a threat. We close down our hearts. We close down our ideas, we close down our creativity and our alignment. And when we do that, it's like we're out here by ourselves and it's like it's a dog eat dog world, right? Everybody out for themselves. I got to take what's mine, and I judge others, to feel safe and to feel okay, and if they would change then I would be okay, and it becomes about blame and criticism and all that, when in a moment we have a choice. And in the book, The Flow Factor, I have a graph in the back and it shows when you go into judgment, just that act of judgment, it takes you out of flow and then it brings you
Mm,
down, right? You go into judgment, you go then into criticism and
hmm
blame, and
hmm
then there's fear and all the other things that come from that spectrum of lack. But the minute you can go back into neutrality, and that's where compassion comes in, we're back in flow. Because now we're not feeling bad. We may just be in neutrality and feeling I'm okay, but that okayness gives us a different perspective to see, feel, experience anything that we want, what's happening now, or even what's happening in the future, or even what happened in the past.
Right. You're basically encouraging people to be mature spiritual beings to grow up
Right.
in a sense. Now you
Can
talk
we all just get along, right? It starts with inside of ourselves.
right. Now you talk about the fact that our childhood conditioning basically determines our strategy for survival, our strategy for coping, even. So the conditioning determines that, and then you're helping to assist people out of that primitive response to the conditioning or
Absolutely.
reaction. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we all live life experience. And one thing that when you understand that there's this thing called contrast, meaning what you don't want, it could be extreme contrast, like I talk in the book. You have big T traumas, which is, anything like abuse, anything that's a tragic death. These kind of things can really just shock us and be, a really hard point in life. But those traumas don't have to be the thing that stops us from living our own lives.
Mhm.
24 years ago, my sister committed suicide.
Mm.
And for me, it was one of those traumatic things that it just rocked my world. But because I had just, thank God, opened up to my spiritual awareness, I was able to have enough knowledge to let myself process what I needed to process in that grief and in that trauma. But I also made a choice. I said to myself, just because she chose to do what she did in her life, this doesn't have to mark my life as the end of my life or what's going
Right.
to allow me to stop me from living my best life.
Right.
And so, no matter what the traumas are, we still have a choice. It could be the greatest thing that opens you up and where you learn about yourself and where you grow. And where I don't know about you, Michael, but it's in times when I've been just on my knees and begging God for, some kind
Mhm.
of relief, where I opened up spiritually, where I got the answers, I got the insight.
Yeah.
Those moments when we're on our knees and going, God help me, or universe, or someone, something, angels, whatever you believe in, those are the moments where at least we're open.
Right. That's what happens. It's kind of a, human beings grow through pain or insight. And we're in that pain, the ego temporarily loses control, particularly if we're in that, as you're talking about, on our knees kind of vibration, and there's a yielding and a surrender. We're out of the way, and then flow can take over, or something can
Yes.
happen through us. So basically, many people grow mainly through pain. And I think the work we're trying to do is to help people grow through insight and spiritual practice and revelation. So when a person can we activate flow, and then can flow help rewire things that have occurred during trauma? Is that a good question?
It's a great question. And yes, absolutely. Because what happens in those times, let's just say you're a little kid and something happens, right? We're going through life, we feel good, and say mom or dad isn't paying attention to us. And we're talking about a little trauma. We're not talking like about abuse or anything, but it also, works for abuse too. We make a decision. We make a choice around that choice that I'm not enough, right?
Right.
They must not love me because they're not paying attention to me. I must not matter, right? That gets imprinted. And
Yeah.
then that, you're Mr. Law of Attraction, right? That gets imprinted like a vortex of energy. And from that place, we attract. And so we start to see evidence of what we believe. Oh, I got a boyfriend. My boyfriend doesn't care about me. I guess I'm not enough. I guess I don't matter. Oh, that school teacher is paying attention to everybody else but me. I guess I don't matter. We continue to believe it. It continues to be an imprint. And then we track from that place unless we shift the energy, unless we go to those points, unless we
Hmm.
go to those parts, release that energy. And that's where bring in flow, because where we don't have flow, that's where the imprints are. We let go of those imprints by way of flow. And now we don't believe that. And then we attract something different.
Right. Now you have practical steps for inviting people into the next stage of consciousness. Can you share some of those
Yes, absolutely. So
practical steps?
there's three different states of being. There's lack, which never feels good. On the other end, there's abundance, which always feels good, right? Most people can't go from despair to happiness in 1 minute, right? There's like a step in between. And I
Right.
like to call that neutrality. One of the universal laws I talk about is the law of sufficiency and abundance. So coming into a place of sufficiency,
Okay.
right, opens the doorway for abundance, because most people can't go, God, I'm so disappointed. Wait, let me just appreciate what I have, right? It's too big of a gap. So coming into neutrality, the biggest thing you can do is practice self-compassion. Now, I will tell you, Michael, if everybody in the world understood how to have self-compassion, it would be a very, very different world. Now, self-compassion in 3 steps, right? First, the idea of it, right? So instead of the judgment of there's something wrong with me, or I'm bad, or I must not deserve, or any of that, letting yourself feel the energy of soothing. I like to imagine that your soul is all around you, right? You're in this bubble of light, 5 feet above, 5 feet below, in front, behind, all around, and within. And just the idea of your soul being with you, it's comforting. There's a, oh, I'm not here alone. There's something
Mm-hmm.
bigger, greater, right? That's the first step, is inviting in the energy. Some do that through prayer, some do that through intention, right? It might be seeing the word compassion, meditating on it, journaling about it, but inviting that energy in. The second thing is, and I'd love for you to do this and tell me how you feel, and I would love everybody listening to this, just hug yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just give yourself a big hug.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, because you hug yourself even just for 90 seconds, because it takes 90 seconds to process an emotion. You hug yourself, you rub yourself, you do some kind of somatic touch. Your limbic system releases, so that whole fight or flight in the back of our head relaxes. Our nervous system, we want to feel that touch. And it's like, if someone else isn't around, you've got your arms, not like you went to the grocery store and, oh, I forgot my arms at home. Your arms are always with you, right? You got your arms, hug yourself, breathe into that. And then the third
Yes.
step is affirm,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're all right. I'm enough.
Mm-hmm. So there's the invitation, and then there's the which is a part of the soothing process, and then there's the wrapping your arms around yourself. These are the only arms we need. and then
That's it.
and then there's the third part is, how do you call it?
The affirmation.
Yeah, you're affirming that it is so.
Yeah.
You're actually affirming it from a somatic experience.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're not
And feeling that. Yeah.
feeling it. Yeah. So how do you find free will? What is free will? How does free will play in all of this?
Well, each of us have free will, right? Nobody can think for us. Nobody can speak for us. Nobody can believe for us. Nobody can feel for us. And nobody can move or take action in our lives. And that's really, when you break down consciousness, that's what it is. What are we saying? What are we thinking? What are we imagining, believing, perceiving? What are we either feeling or stuffing down and not feeling? What actions or behaviors are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we all have free will. So because knowing that we have free will and that we can actually choose how we feel, we can choose how we think, we definitely can choose what words we speak.
Yes.
You know, those are all, if we're speaking into lack, we're going to experience lack. If we're speaking into success or abundance or love, we're going to attract more of that. And so our free will is huge, because, you know, this pure positive energy, this support, this love, this success, this abundance that the universe provides day in, day out for us all day, every day, we can't receive it unless we're in tune with it. And that's what
Yes.
our free will, when we're in tune with it, now it's not just us.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole world that we are vibrating with. It's the pure potentiality. It's the
Right.
yumminess of the universe.
Right. Right. And I like what you said. People need to hear that again, that the law or whatever is responding to us, responding to the same vibration that we are choosing to be in. So there is a response,
Yes.
a lawful feeling tone response that people have free will to jump into that. They have every right to jump right there, regardless of circumstance or situation. Yeah.
And you do that just by focusing on it, practicing. I know I have clients all the time saying, well, I've been in lack for so long. How do I get into abundance? Well, it's
Mhm.
like a new relationship. You meet someone for the first time, you're not like, oh, you might be, but a lot of times, right? It's like you got to, hey, I
Right,
meet you, I like
right,
you. Are we going to go for a cup of coffee or are we going to maybe go for dinner? You
right,
start to
right.
put time, attention, focus on a relationship. We have relationships with vibrations in our life. We have a
Yes,
relationship with abundance. We have a relationship with success and love and money and all the things. We have a relationship, but our free will and choice chooses what relationship we're going to have, because all relationships start with inside of us.
absolutely. This is good. Now you write about energetic bushwhacking. What is that?
Well,
What's the best way to recover from it once that happens?
so what it is you're going along, you feel good, and then you get some bad news. Someone tells you something, you see something on social media, maybe you're excited about something and someone puts a negative post on social media. That's
Huh.
what a bushwhack is. It's like, like what just happened, right? And typically, like that turtle, because that's our natural instinct, we close down. And instead, we want to feel the anger. We want to feel the disappointment. We want to feel whatever emotion is happening. It
Mhm.
takes 90 seconds for a wave of emotion to literally move through us when we feel and open up to it. If we close down around it, that energy is still going, it's still
Yes.
spiraling. And now we're going to attract from it. But if we just let ourselves be present with it and go down into our bellies, that's where our emotional body is, and whatever energy is vibrating in our bodies, when you just be present with it and not judge it, not get into the mind, you have to name it, blame it, tell a story about it, drop every tension down into your belly. Let yourself feel the emotion, the waves of
Yes.
it moving out. Now,
Yes.
that energy, it's like opening up the door, and that energy can flow out.
Yes. So this is very powerful. I do the same thing with people. I'll have them, they may be going through physical pain or whatever. Have them feel it without putting a label on it.
Yes.
Don't label it. Just totally embrace it and let it be what it's going to be so it can be transmuted. You
Yes.
put a label on it because, in the medical profession, they want to label it. Psychiatric profession, they want to label something. But if you just go right into the fullness of it, it will transmute.
Exactly.
You'll be a midwife to your own healing.
That's it.
Yeah.
But the minute you're going, is this anger? Is this frustration? Is this
Yeah.
irritation? Who cares? You just feel it and let it go.
Right. So the flow
Yeah.
state is totally different from the survival state, obviously.
Yes. So survival state is that space of lack. It's where the fight, flight, freeze, fawn comes in, where we're inside of this drama triangle where,
Yeah, the drama triangle. Yeah, break that down even more. Yeah.
yeah. So in 1960s, Stephen Cartman created this book on how we relate as human beings inside the drama triangle. I like to call it the triangle of lack. It feels like the Bermuda Triangle because once you're in there, it's hard to get out, right?
You're
But
stuck.
it's like you're stuck and people keep going round, around, around. But there's three roles that we play inside of it. We're either playing the victim, so that victim mentality, like this is happening to me, no matter what I do, I can't seem to make more money, gain, lose weight, find a partner, that kind of victim mentality. We have then the persecutor, which is the one that judges and criticizes and blames. And then we have the rescuer, right? The one that's the good guy. Let me just do everything at the expense of myself and anybody else. Let me enable the victim. And so any of those three roles inside the drama triangle, it's sticky. It's sticky. And the only way out is what we talked about earlier, is that compassion, giving yourself that compassion that neutralizes you
Yes.
so that you can then think differently and feel differently and speak differently and create, using your imagination, something different.
Yes. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good explanation. We talk about fight, flight, and freeze, but you have something called fawn as well.
Yeah. So fawning is, let me just give an example. When I was a kid, there was a lot of, I would call my mom and dad the Bickersons. They were married before my dad passed. 67 years,
That's
right?
funny. They
They
bickered for 67 years.
They didn't talk to each other. They bickered. Like that's how stop yelling at each other. We're not yelling at each other. It was just like the bick, right?
That was the way of that was the way they communicated.
Exactly. And that was just regular talking. Forget about the yelling and all of that, right? So there was mental, emotional, and sometimes physical abuse. And so this one time I remember, I'm going to date myself, back in the 70s, my sister and I were playing Atari, if you remember Atari, Michael. And I hear my dad or my mom screaming. So my sister and I run into her bedroom, and my dad's got her arm behind her back. And she's like, he's going to break my arm, right? So my sister goes over to him, gets him off of him. He gets in his car, drives away, right? So this is like a huge imprint of, for me, I'm like, why don't you leave him? I was 8 years old and I knew like, this is not okay behavior. Why don't you leave him? So for me, my imprint became, I will never let a man ever do that to me. And I said, why don't you leave him? And she said, what am I supposed to do about money? So I made a vow to myself in that moment, I will take care of myself. I'm never going to get myself in a situation like my mom did and have to rely on a man to be able to get money, right? This later bites me in the butt, which is a story for another time. However, my dad comes home, my sister and I are like, to my dad. And my mom is, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. I understand what you did. Fawning all over him, trying to make him okay, trying to calm him down so that she doesn't have to leave, so that he doesn't leave her, and also that she's safe and then doesn't get her arm broken. Right. So
Or it's more like an emotional enabling to some degree.
it is, but they fawn all over to make them okay in order for the situation so that they feel safe. And that's purely out of the lack triangles, purely out of survival mode. Just like nothing could happen. We could have a thought that threatens the way we feel financially or in our relationship. Nothing has to physically happen. We could have a thought and we can immediately go into resistance. We can go into that fight mode within our own minds. And then we're down the road of, oh my God, what if, I don't have what I need? And, how our minds, our thoughts can just take us there. I mean,
right.
This is what we're talking about. This is what you talk about on your podcast, right? This is it. It's like when our minds take us into that fight, flight, freeze, or even fawn mode, how do we get out of it? And it's giving ourselves that compassion, giving ourselves that hug and that affirmation that you're okay. Right now, you're all right. Okay. So here we are. We're now in that space, right? We're in neutrality, but we want to get over to abundance. We don't want to stay in neutrality. That's okay. But we want the good stuff in life, right? So after you're done affirming you're okay, it's like, well, what would I love? What would I appreciate? What do I want to create? Because we have these amazing imaginations that are so creative. So if we don't start thinking about the positive or the pleasure, what we do want to move into, our minds will immediately go back into the no, in the survival mode. So I like to ask 3 questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? And how do I want to feel? Because here's the thing, Michael, you know this better than anybody. It's like, oh, if I want to feel successful, I need to go get that. If I want to feel loved, I need to go get a partner. If I want to have more success, I need to go on Oprah. If I want to do this, I need to do that, right? It's like, but there's always some condition that we're giving to a feeling or a vibration or to flow that we don't have to wait for anyone or anything. If I'm identifying, I want to feel success, well, I can feel it now. Right. It's available now.
Right. It doesn't have to be attached to a condition.
Correct.
Circumstance or a person. You're liberating people from something external that's making them happy. You're bringing them into an awareness that all of this is intrinsic, but you have to choose it. You have to participate with it. You have to shift.
Your free will. You have to focus on it. Yeah. I like to think of it this way. There's a piano, right? I have a piano over there, so that's why I always point over there. The piano, right? That piano has keys. It has notes. Right? Just like that vibrate, they're in resonance, they have a frequency. And that piano has so much potential. It could play Led Zeppelin all the way to Bach or your chopsticks or anything in between. It could play the most beautiful music, but it's not going to do anything unless someone goes and plays it. we're the piano player, but those
Mhm.
notes and those frequencies are available to us. And it's up
Yes,
to us to choose those notes and play our own song.
right. And then as you play the song, you become a tuning fork for others
Yes.
to vibrate at that higher level that you're vibrating at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a vibrational difference on the planet.
And you are such a beautiful tuning fork.
Thank you so much.
You are.
Thank you. You become a tuning fork and leave a vibrational imprint. And you literally, people don't understand this, you literally change the world because the world is just vibrations that have been congealed
Yeah.
and then become experience. But as you're able to maintain, you literally are changing the world everywhere you go, even though it may not look like it. That we have more power than we think.
I have a funny story about that. I had
Please.
a neighbor in the last house that I lived. She was a woman that lived next door, never was into spiritual, stuff, never read books on how to better your life. And she moved in next door. Now I channel, I've been coaching for 25 years. I'm very much into energy and surrounding my neighborhood and my state and my country with light,
Yes.
right? She decided one day to go listen to a spiritual podcast, which I happened to be on at the time. And she was like, she was just like, oh my God, this woman is speaking me like she has a book. I have to go get her book. Right. So she downloads the last book I had, which is The Desire Factor. She's listening to it and she's on her way driving to Pilates. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is blowing me away. Right. So she's late to her Pilates class because she couldn't get out of her car because she had to wait for this chapter to be over. So she goes into the Pilates studio and she's telling this guy, I'm so sorry, her Pilates instructor, I'm so sorry I'm late, but I just had to listen to this. This was like so rocking my soul. And she goes, you gotta go get this book by Christy Whitman. And he goes, that Christy Whitman? And he goes, Christy, what books have you written? And I go, Desire Factor. And she turned around and she would tell you, she's like, if Elvis would have walked into the room, she wouldn't have been more surprised. But here's a woman that literally did it. Like I was radiating this light that woke her up and she
Right.
had no way of knowing, but just the beautiful synchronicity of her listening to the one show I was on, not the one show, but the show that I happened to be on that then
Right.
talked about my book. And then she goes to do Pilates where I am doing it, and she
Right.
lived right next door to me.
That's so funny. So the Pilates teacher, he didn't even know you wrote books,
He knew I was an author, but he
but
didn't
he
know
didn't
what
know.
kind of books.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I was talking to a rabbi who was putting together her sermon, and she'd never talked to the guy across the street from her, and she was taking out her trash cans, and they just for some reason today got into a conversation, and he was saying, "Hey, Rabbi, what are you going to speak about today?" And she says, "Oh, I just read this study," and he says, "I wrote that study."
Oh, I love it.
He said, "Yeah, when I was at the university, I did that." Maybe ultimately they were right across the street from each other, but they had no relationship except on that particular day, and they were into the same thing.
I love
So
it.
when something coincides like that, it's definitely a flow moment. Yeah,
Yes. And flow can happen all the time. It's just,
yeah.
when you come to joyfully expect flow,
Hmm.
it's like we receive more of it, right? It's like you said in The Secret, where your attention goes, right? Your energy
Right,
flows. I
right,
mean, when you are flowing your energy towards what you love and what feels good and what you want more of and what you would love, universe is in sync with you and delivers you all of that and more. But we
right,
got to get out of that survival mode. And we are
right,
the only ones that can do that. We're free
right,
will.
right, right. So, the world right now, the world of appearances, that is fraught with so much. I mean, there's shootings and campuses, and uh, there's a lot going on in the world, and people are on edge, and they're sad,
Yeah.
and some people are upset, some people are fearful, some people are going into silos of limited political points of view and things of that particular nature. What would you say? Well, you get a chance to say it right now. What would you say to people in order to navigate themselves out of the fear, the doubt, the worry, the hate, the shame, all the stuff that we're being bombarded with on a regular basis on the internet, the news, you know, how can
Well,
they move into flow? What would you suggest?
first of all, if they're in fear, feel the fear. Let the fear go. Because if you have a container, doesn't matter what the container is, your container is full of fear, you got to empty that container. You got to empty. It's like you got to pour out whatever's happening inside of you in order to pour something in. If I have a full container and I try to pour something else in there, it's going to overflow. It's not going in.
Right.
So you want to feel whatever fear it is, but don't continue to stay stuck in it. Feel it, let it go, so that you come into that self-compassion. Exactly what we were talking about. It's like, the world is tough right now, right? This doesn't feel good. I'm inviting in a higher perspective, a higher awareness. I want to be in the flow. I want to feel good, right? Give yourself that hug. Tell yourself it's going to be okay. Right now, I'm okay. It's all right, right? And then, as you and I have been talking about, use your mind for what you do want, and picture a world where people are getting along. Picture a world where people are at peace. Picture a world where people are coming together instead of being so divided. If each individual is processing and taking responsibility for them being in survival mode and letting their energy release of whatever they're feeling, despair, sadness, whatever it is, and coming back into a space of neutrality and compassion for themselves, they can then have compassion for others, right? You may have a different belief system than your sister or your cousin or your father or your mother. You don't have to judge them. You also don't have to have them believe what you believe. They can believe what they believe.
Right.
But you get to have what you believe and have compassion for yourself for maybe being misunderstood or not being seen or whatever it is. Have compassion for yourself, and then extend that compassion to someone else, because that compassion energy connects, it unites, it brings in the wholeness, the oneness. It doesn't divide. It's not divisive. And so being just in that neutral energy and then asking yourself, what would I love? What would the world look like if we all came together? What if we could all get along? What if everybody was in the mindset that they can create their own reality based on what they think about?
Right.
What a world that would be.
Yes, those are two technologies. One is the re-enchanting of the imagination, because the imagination has been hijacked, which is why I call this the Take Back Your Mind podcast, because the imagination has been hijacked by the world and other people's opinions and points of view. So people don't even have dominion over their own imagination. So they end up living in worst case scenarios. And then the energy behind that, and the emotions behind that, and they're stuck in that triangle, you see. And what we're talking about is re-enchanting the imagination. And then you did something else, something that I love, that I like to teach. What would the world look like if, and I think that if we ask those kind of questions, something happens in us. We become open. If I say, what would the world look like if everybody had all their needs met? Or why is it the universe supporting me in such a powerful way? The moment I ask that question, I'm open. I'm not in my mind. I'm not in my thoughts about the world. I'm now waiting for an answer. And the universe will answer it.
Always.
So those are powerful technologies, the re-enchantment of the imagination and the asking a question that you really want the answer to.
Yeah, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. Like, why can't I seem to? Don't ask that question. Like,
why is this bad stuff always happening to me?
Right.
No.
Don't ask that question. You want to know why things are so good for you.
Absolutely.
Why am I so blessed? Why is life so good? Yeah. And
I had the congregation doing that almost every Sunday, to move into that prayer vibe that way. Why am I so blessed? Why is everything working together for my good? Why do I have so much money?
Right. But Michael, you and I have lived long enough life, and I'm sure all of your listeners too, that you could look back on Time magazine covers, and you can look back on, if you wanted to go look at, news, there's always going to be some negative stuff happening. There's always going to be contrast.
Yeah.
If you want just pure positive energy, well, that's what we're going to get when we leave these bodies and we go back into non-physical, right? It's like we're here in the 3D. It's a polarized universe. There's a law of polarity. If there's up, there's down, there's in, there's out, there's left, there's right, there's hot, there's cold. If there is contrast, and there's something that you are looking at that you are discontented with, that you just want so different and better, there is a quantum field that already has the potential and the
Absolutely.
ability to provide the opposite of it. And it's
Yeah.
just like exactly what you were saying. Now imagine that reality. Use the contrast as a leaping off point to say, oh, this isn't what I want.
Hmm.
Okay, then what do I want? What do
Hmm.
I want? Why do I want it? How do I want to feel? Okay, I don't know how to go get it, but I know that I could feel successful right now. I can conjure the feeling of success. I can imagine and see myself being successful. I can journal about it. I can meditate on it. Now you're using your God given, beautiful life force in the moment
Yes.
energy
Yes.
to create what you want and stop pushing against and resisting what you don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people need to know that they're way more powerful than they think they are. And they oftentimes people just think they're victimized by a circumstance. But with what you're saying and with the conversation we're having today, we're reminding people that everything's just a thought away, just a thought away. And one of the things I like to tell people is that, just like an astronaut has its own atmosphere, we begin to carry our own atmosphere. We're not looking for atmosphere out there. We're carrying our own atmosphere everywhere we go.
Yeah.
And then that affects other people as well. But even if it doesn't right away, doesn't matter. We're breathing our own oxygen, our own nitrogen, our own hydrogen.
Yeah.
So people need to know that their happiness is not based on someone else or someone else's opinions or anything. We carry our own atmosphere by asking the right question
Yeah.
and hanging in that particular space.
I would always say that we have our own economy. We're
Yeah.
in our own economy. Our own
Yes.
economy is in our own head. There's no out there.
Right.
Out there is a reflection of in here.
Right.
So if you don't like the economy, change it within yourself. If you don't
Right.
like the atmosphere, right? You don't like the weather, change it within yourself because you will see it reflected outwardly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I understand you have an academy.
I've had a coaching academy since 2008, the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, where I have certified over 3,000 law of attraction coaches over the years, and more people doing this type of work, coaching people one-on-one and in groups, helping them change their mindsets, helping them shift their energy, helping them master their energy. And it's one of those, throw the rock in the pebble or a pebble in the water and see the ripple effect. It's amazing that there's people I've trained and certified that are out there doing their thing and changing people's lives, and I'll never even meet them. But the vibrations, like
Well,
we were talking earlier.
do you meet them in class?
Yes, yeah, I meet those coaches, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'll never meet
You never
those.
meet their students.
That
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah, yeah.
never meet their clients, you know what I mean? But it's like they're out there all over the world now, spreading their light and shifting their own vibrations and minds and affecting their neighbors that live next to them.
Right, right. So how long does it take for a person to get a certificate?
So it was normally a 10 month. I designed it as a 10-month certification, but you can go at your own pace. There's requirements, to send in and everything, because you can actually get feedback from coaches.
Mhm.
And so, but there's classes and you can go through them all at the same time if you want. You can binge them or you can spread them out over a week as it was designed. So it's online. So it doesn't matter if someone's in Hong Kong or if they're in California, they can go at their own pace. And we meet twice a month to answer questions and get coaching.
Twice a month online?
Yeah, twice a month on Zoom, online, live. And then the classes, which used to be back then, it was live classes that we would do twice a year. Now it's all online, so someone doesn't have to be in class at 3:00 on a Tuesday, right? They can do it at their own pace.
Plenty of room in the Zoom room.
Plenty.
This has been great. This has been great. So, what would be the greatest or tantalizing miracle that you've seen in your own life or somebody else's life that stepped into flow?
Oh, there's so many, Michael, but I'm going to use one of my favorites. When my son, I have two boys, 15 and 16. Actually, one will be 15 next week. When he was 2 months of age, he was rushed to the hospital.
Mm.
And he was told by a team of doctors that he had a transposition of the great artery, and
Mm.
basically that he wasn't hooked up right.
Right, for his
And
heart, right.
yeah. And so there was a miracle because normally the valve that closes when babies start, breathing the air and in the
Mhm.
atmosphere, it closes. His didn't. And he also had a hole between two of the valves. And so
Mm.
these two holes, these two areas, kept him alive for 2 months. Now, to come to find out, he's an absolute miracle because most babies, it's found when, they're in utero, when they do ultrasound, they can see if the heart's not hooked up and they'll immediately do heart surgery on the babies. If it's not found within the first week, they usually pass. So
Right.
on record, they had never had a baby with this condition at 2 months of age because none had ever made it. And
Mm.
so the minute we got the diagnosis, I turned to my husband and I said, I'm not focusing on who's to blame and why they didn't catch it. And I don't want any worry energy. I just want to focus on what we want. I want him home. I want him healthy. See the picture with me of you wrestling with the two of them. Let's see the picture of us going to Disneyland. See the picture of him playing a sport. I had baseball in my mind, but he is a star soccer player. He's an elite club soccer player. He's the captain of his team. So
Mhm.
here we are all these years later. This kid who has gotten a clean bill of health, it's like he has a totally healthy heart as if nothing ever happened. I even used to call his zipper a miracle mark, right?
Mhm.
That focus of
Zipper
nobody,
on where his heart is?
yeah, like
Uh,
that, because he had open heart surgery.
mhm.
So, but in that moment, I said, even our moms and dads are not going to go see him because they're going to be worried. We're going to
Right,
pour
right,
positive
right,
energy into him. In the
right.
ICU, it was like, you're so strong. You're so good. You've got this. You're a miracle. And everything we put around him was just that pure energy of, you're so amazing. You've got this. And we wouldn't if I was in a worry space, I would go master my own energy, process the worry energy. Maybe I wouldn't go in that morning or something because I needed to process my own grief or whatever was happening. And my husband would go and he'd be the
Mhm.
one pure positive. So this miracle energy, it does create miracles. This flow energy does create. I mean, he is just a walking, breathing, very sarcastic, but very adorable breathing.
How old is he now? What is he,
He's
15?
15.
And you have another son?
Yes, he's 16.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Yeah.
he was already here. And what does he do?
He's 16 years old. He just got his driver's license.
He's not
He's a
playing soccer, but
no, he's a bodybuilder. He's like,
okay.
pumping iron and stuff and into the girls, whereas my other son is very much soccer school.
Soccer focus. Now,
Yeah.
the younger one, does he realize the severity of the illness he had? Not illness, but the issue that he had, and the miraculous energy that happened around him. Does he see aware?
Yes. I wrote a story because I'm a writer, obviously. So I wrote him a story when he was little, and I kind of kept updating it as he would get older. And I
Mhm.
put pictures in there and like miracles and all the different things that happen. And from time to time, he'll read it, and
Mm.
it's really nice to see. But I always will say, "Oh, there's your miracle mark.
Mm.
You're a true miracle," and he owns that. He really does own it.
Let's say his name.
Maxim.
Okay. Oh, you gave him a name.
I mean, he's Maxim.
Yeah.
Our oldest son is Alexander, which is leader of great men, right?
Right,
And
right, right,
Maxim is the greatest. So
right. You did it. So what's your husband's name?
Frederick.
Okay.
Yeah, you've met him too. He was at the gala. He was all
Yeah.
excited. There's Michael Beckwith. I want to go get a picture with him. He really resonates with you.
Beautiful. Give him my love. Frederick is my grandfather's name.
I will.
Yeah, my grandfather. Yeah, beautiful. Well, this has been great. Now, if you were about to get off, what would your mind say? Oh, I wish I would have said that. I wish I forgot to say that. Or is there anything bubbling up that we want to leave with these beautiful people that are tuning in?
I think we've said it, but just let me say it in a different way.
Hmm.
Is that even though when your mind can tell you that you're not enough, or your mind gives you a worry thought, or your mind tells you that there's something to fear, and it will, because
Hmm.
it's a natural, survival mode that our minds do. It doesn't matter who we are. We all have negative thoughts from time to time, and it just happens that way, or something happens and we could go, like we have that moment of, oh, right? But just remember, flow is always there. The
Mm-hmm.
flow is always a choice. You don't have to stay stuck in the fight, flight, freeze. You don't have to. You have a choice to just even know now. You know something different now that you didn't know before. And that is flow is another option. It's a better option. It's a more
Mm-hmm.
empowering option. And it's there for you always. So choose flow.
Right. And so you can invite it in, you can embrace, and then you can affirm from that feeling. And
Yeah.
I like using the word flow motion.
Ooh, that's good, Michael.
I always say we want to go into flow motion, the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is going to touch a lot of people, that they understand that they have choice as they expand their awareness. There's choice and they can choose, and that their life isn't being dominated by other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, or even experiences in the world. We are powerful beyond measure, and we need to just we need to take that back and amplify it and move into flow motion.
Flow
This has been
motion.
grace. This has been. I said this has been. I meant to say great. This is grace.
It has been grace. It
It's
has.
been grace. It's been magnificently graceful to see you again, and unstoppable. That was a miracle too.
Yeah, absolutely. You're amazing. I'm so grateful for what you do and all the people's lives that you've changed and touched, and the fact that you're still doing it. And just, I mean, you look like you're youthing. And that's what light does. You're
That's what people
youthing.
say all the time. I did a wedding, and a friend of mine, it was a friend of a friend's, and she had a friend. She was saying, "Well, who's doing the wedding?" She said, "There he is, right there, Michael Beckwith." She says, "Oh, he's the son of the founder of Agape." She said, "No, no, no. That's Michael Beckwith. He founded Agape." She said, "No, no, 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 no. That no, no. You mean that?" She said that place started back in the 80s. She said, "Yeah, that's him." She said, "No, no, no. That's not him. That's the son of the founder." And Diana said, "No, that's Michael Beckwith. I've known him for years. He has a son, but he's the guy." The lady couldn't believe it was me, you know.
Yeah.
She
Well,
was
it just shows that light continues to amplify good cells and positive energy, and you're living it. So thank you.
Listen, I have no relationship to age at this point. I'm not interested in it. It's not interested in me. It's just kind of where I live. I'm just me. Just
Yes, you are. There's only one you, and you're just fabulous at
yeah,
it. So thank you.
very good. So let me ask you this. How can people get in touch with you? What's your website, and how can they get this beautiful book?
Well, the book is at theflowfactorbook.com. I have a free gift for all of your listeners. You go to watchyourwords.com. I have a free 30-day program. It's videos that tell you what not to say, why, and what to say instead. So you're not out of flow, but in flow. And of course, ChristyWhitman.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Everyone, you got the information. You know what to do with it. Peace and blessings. Peace and dynamic blessings. Many of you have written letters about how much you really appreciate the Take Back Your Mind podcast and the life questions. So appreciate those letters. Now, our particular program here, these episodes, it's powered by spiritual purpose, but it also has powerful sponsorship. The primary sponsor is Agape International Spiritual Center. So everything that goes on here, Agape is behind it. So what I want you to do, I want you to support the Take Back Your Mind podcast. Go to agapelive.com, make a donation, put a little indication that you're supporting the podcast in that donation, or text the word give to 424-321-6243. Write the word podcast so we know you're supporting this wonderful program of Take Back Your Mind. The secondary sponsor is Neutralize. This is the company that actually produces my particular supplemental line called Adaptozen. I have the Super Greens, I have the Elevate fermented mushrooms, and a number of other products that are emerging. Just go to Neutralize.com, find Adaptozen, and you know what? Uplift your spirit, uplift your body. Remember to share all of this with your friends and support our wonderful sponsor. Have a beautiful day. Peace and blessings, and welcome to the meditation portion of Take Back Your Mind. This is the portion in which we actually practice. People have said over the years that practice makes perfect. I like to say it's the practice of perfection that makes perfect. Because people practice a lot of things. They practice gossip. They practice blaming. They practice competing with other people. They practice comparing themselves with other people. And they end up perfecting living in that little perception of reality. I say, why don't we practice perfection? Why don't we practice meditation? Why don't we practice asking empowering questions as I described in my Life Visioning Process book? So it's not just practice makes perfect. The question is, what are you practicing? And so in this moment, we're going to practice the art and the science of meditation, moving into the sacred silence. There is stillness, silence, solitude. Stillness, silence, sacred solitude. First, we allow ourselves to be still. Stop fidgeting, stop moving all around. Just, I used to say, SYBD, sit your butt down. You see, so there's stillness. Then you move into the cone of silence, where you become aware that you are aware. You intend to grow into your greater yet to be. And then there's solitude. As you become still and silent, there's a solitude factor that takes over. You know what's beautiful about this solitude factor? As you are still and you're alone, you begin to realize, even though you're in the cone of solitude, you're not alone. You can hear the whisperings of the Spirit. You can feel yourself surrounded by a presence that's never an absence. And you begin to come to an understanding, an understanding, an overstanding that you are never alone. That the word alone is all one. You're at one with the universe, at one with the cosmos, at one with God, at one with your real self, capital S self. Meditation is a bridge to awakening, to your realization that you're not alone, but you are all one with the presence. Let's close our eyes for a few moments. Feet firmly on the ground. Back straight, erect, I should say, but not rigid. Let's have our hands facing upward, the sign of receptivity. Thumb and forefinger touching as a mudra of transcending limited perception, egoic perception. And let us intend in this moment to wake up to our glorious nature. Let us intend to wake up to the light that's within us, that is us. Let us intend just to simply wake up from the intoxicated sleep of separation from the divine. That's a sleepwalking consciousness. We intend it now. Our attention is surrounding our intention. And we're aware of the sacred breath that's happening presently. heard, be still and know that I am God. In the midst of you, the God presence is in the midst of you. But you're being still being aware. You're aware of your intention and any thoughts that flow through your awareness, thoughts, opinions, points of view, perceptions. Some you might call good, some you might call bad. You just let them flow on by. What you're interested in, your intention, emerging from stillness, silence, solitude. And emerging from this stillness, this silence, this sacred solitude, is the feeling tone of such gratitude for being alive that the very word that I'm speaking is the law of gratitude that opens up our perceptual windows, that we're able to see more clearly that the divine is everywhere, shining and glistening and glowing with such luminosity that the physical eyes cannot see, but our heart feels it. We give thanks for this most beautiful unfolding day, evening, or afternoon, wherever we are in the time zone aspect of life. And we know that from this moment on, everything is unfolding in the most perfect way. I give thanks for this and allow it to be so. And so it is. Amen. As you slowly open your eyes, that was the pause that refreshes. Have a beautiful, beautiful life. We'll see you soon. Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for tuning in to Take Back Your Mind. If you want to submit a life question, please do so. Email us at podcast@michaelbeckwith.com, and perhaps one day I'll be answering your question that will touch the lives of so many. If you've enjoyed the show, you might as well submit a 5-star review. You might as well tell your friends and family. Let's spread the love. Until we meet again, maintain your awareness. Take back your mind. Because when you take back your mind, you take back your life. Peace and blessings.